Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition lively that meets every Tuesday night, or most Tuesday nights. Anyway, the last time we met, the party had finally locked in on the army of the Four Queens. They were given permission to approach and make their case. They teleported to the circle, which was given to them via Ash, which let them know that the army of the Four Queens had with them another Scholar of Ione with their own Ion Stone, or Sion. And the party was caged upon arriving and forced to answer for why the army of Stormreef Isle was being led by them now and not by Tatsuya, as the group utilized their bond granted them by the goddess Avandra to formulate the best responses they can. They did confirm to the generals of the Army of the Four Queens that Tatsuya, while seemingly devoted to the idea of defeating Tiamat in the name of Bahamut, had let his ambition to serve this end corrupt him, had allowed Tiamat to corrupt him against his own purpose, in their words, and they needed to remove a threat. They explained that they were forced to fight him, and in the course of that fight, they heard the voice of Tiamat, which called to his soul and turned him into a devil, which they then had to fight again. So all of that is now out there. The army is aware that this man that they had placed literally all of their faith in, belief that what they were doing was right, had become the enemy and had been destroyed, in fact, by someone else. Now, that someone else was coming to them with a new purpose, in line with the original purpose to defeat Tiamat, but in this case, the more defensive position. Leave Tiamat alive and in Avernus, and simply reseal the children that Tatsuya himself had freed. And this was not easy for these people to accept. They had spent the last weeks at least, perhaps up to 2 months, preparing their army, mustering it, and then ferrying it up the inland sea to Ebengard to fight this battle that would likely cost hundreds, thousands of lives even. Defeat these dragons in short order, and then summon their matriarch to the mortal plane and defeat her as well. And now they are being told that's not the plan. That they'll still be expected to fight these dragons, but this time the goal is not a permanent end to this evil, which they sought. Now, luckily, Yukikaze is a very persuasive public speaker, a very inspiring general, and with the help of the party to guide the arguments he would make, was able to break down the mental defenses of these generals enough that the words could begin to land, and we ended last session with Sotharis taking her true form, the massive gold dragon, within the confines of their horse cage, which was incredibly uncomfortable for everyone involved. But despite this, she argued the virtues of the party to the army at large, utilizing thaumaturgy and swearing her devotion and her life to their cause, which, coming from any dragon, is a persuasive argument, but coming from the dragon known as the Child of Bahamut and the Guardian of the East, a guardian spirit to these people's own home nation, this is going to seem to shake them to their core. And there is a wave of murmurs that rushes through the soldiers gathered on the ground surrounding the horse cage as Seltharis regains her tiefling form, decked out in gold as ever, and the force cage becomes a lot easier to breathe in. The generals are reeling from this information, and they are not discussing amongst themselves at this moment, as they all seem to be piecing things together themselves in their own minds. But all of them shares this this wide-eyed expression of I would say disbelief mingled with awe, because they have literally stood in the presence of a mortal god. And that is a challenge for, I would say, any mortal. Sort of you guys who always just look at everything you encounter as something you can probably kill.
I don't think I've had that stance. Why do you think we're seeing Tiamat? We could possibly kill him, but
Well,
doesn't mean it's guaranteed.
you travel very comfortably in the presence of these demigod personalities, a thing that other mortals could not claim to do.
Mm. And also, fighting Tatya is such a strong word, because someone's been hanging out with a mad scientist too much.
I mean, I will remind you that your plan was to gate Tatsuya onto a demi-plane and jump him in a 7-on-1 fight to his death. And that portion of the plan worked out exceedingly well up until he turned into a archdevil and started absolutely wrecking face.
Until I blew him up.
Blew him up, the ultimate sacrifice, so... The party has not been proven incapable of overcoming any challenge put to it yet. It'll be a sad day if that happens. So, as I say, Seltharis has restored herself into her smaller tiefling form. All of you are, able to free yourselves from the edges of the cage where you got smushed by her mass. Incredibly uncomfortable. I honestly think that everybody should receive 15 points of bludgeoning damage just for being smushed.
Really?
Yes.
It is a tight cage, and she's a very, very large creature.
She's an exceedingly large creature. Hold on, let me bring up that mini again. Oops, not flying. I wanted morphs. Boom! You had to share the cage with this.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. She was giving us looks when she was doing it.
20 feet out. Whoops. Well, I don't know where she went. Anyway.
I also, we should come up with a punishment for Vendar if he gets reincarnated, because I feel like he could possibly just keep blowing himself up.
You don't want him to do
Come
that?
back, come back with the one less toe. Comes back with gills or some oddball things.
Anyway, so, as I've been trying to say, the generals are putting things together. There is this moment of silence as they're thinking to themselves about what they've just heard from this creature that is unto a god to them. Is there any last nails you wish to drive in that coffin for them? This is your moment to get in some barbs when they're not going to be able to retaliate, really.
I really can't think of anything because I don't want to be that guy. Other than being like, see, you got a pretty strong case.
I'll do it this way.
Did we did we actually point out that any plans that Tatsuya was part of might be what's the word?
Painted by
Tainted
TMS
is-
well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I believe I believe I mentioned that or said something of the sort.
Even without mentioning that directly, there's a strong implication that that could be the case if they accept that what you say about him being manipulated by Tiamat is true. So I will remind you, and incidentally remind myself, that one thing that's been going on during all of the talking between you and the generals is that their cleric of Ione, bottom of the list there, Levendrokir, they have been, several paces behind their generals, conversing with their glowing green Sion, and writing in this bound tome that looks not dissimilar to the one you always see Laramenda's carrying. Just so you know that there are other things going on in the scene.
Well, this is. Did they back up after she got big? Because we already had them come up to the
Yeah.
cage and point out about my armor already.
Yes, they came up and pointed out about your armor to the generals, and after that point was made, they did retreat again because, in this case, similar to when you dealt with the Tritons, there seems to be that cleric doesn't want to put themselves on the same level of import as their own generals, so they came up when they were called, then they fell back.
Kind of like they're respecting the hierarchy or possibly hierarchy that there is.
Yeah, they also seemed very uncomfortable to be made subject of interest.
Yeah, they're a knowledge seeker. That's all they want.
My calling out about them was a mean thing to do.
It was.
Oh, stop
It was
it!
potentially helpful.
You know you enjoyed that, Laramentis. Don't you lie.
I think Sam enjoyed it. Laramentis may not have. So, in the absence of anyone speaking up amongst the generals, Lieutenants General, I believe that this is when a voice will rise from amongst you that has been very quiet this whole time, as you're going to hear the somewhat gurgled common of the translator for Sturgis, as he's going to say, translating for Sturgis, who speaks Aquan, authoritatively. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I wrote the name. Right. Bastion Nemo.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Nepo.
It's Nemo. I did forget that I had asked for a silly name for them. Excuse me. Bastion there is going to raise his voice and say, my commander would like to take this opportunity to add his own comment that in the days leading up to this meeting, we bore witness to the army building on what you call Storm Reef Isle. And as he's talking, you're going to be hearing as Sturgis himself is saying these things. So there's a speak, a little lag, and then another speak into common as you understand this translation is happening. I'm going to say, prior to these people arriving, he says, gesturing to the party, my leader witnessed a sad lack of both decorum and skill at training soldiers of his army. And further to that, a lack of the general himself. Now, we, the Tritons, have assumed that he was off recruiting as more and more soldiers appeared. My leader wishes me to emphasize that we use the term soldier at this time incredibly loosely. And when these people did finally arrive, and coincidentally the general was there trying to take up the slack in the training of his army, they brought with them a creature, dangerous and foul, master of the deep, and an enemy to my people, the Kraken, which they offered to take down for the general and protect the army. But the general decided that he would test his barely trained soldiers against it, losing at least 100 in that one engagement. One that perhaps these folks, with their magical talents and equipment, might have defeated without such losses. It was after that they were able to take control of the army, and we of the Tritons witnessed them doing far more than this Tatsuya ever did to whip them into shape. They even had the foresight to contract with us. And the Tritons, renowned soldiers of the deep, are now, as we speak, training this army to be prepared for this battle. It is by this evidence that my leader wishes you to consider an alliance with these people in place of your agreement with the other Tatsuya. They have the faith of the Tritons, of the Inner Sea. There's no flair, no fanfare, no magic to make these words better heard. He's speaking very specifically to the generals, and whomever can hear him beyond that is icing.
Okay.
Now, you are stuck in this cage for another 30 minutes or so.
So, well, I guess I could speak up and say, are you gonna, is time going to be needed for you to contemplate, everything that has, been discussed?
Say this to the generals.
Yes.
The generals are going to, having had time to come out of their reverie, their thoughtful stupor during the course of Sturgis's speech via Bastion, they're going to look to you, narrowing their eyes, then to each other, and you know that there is this conversation of eyebrows happening before Orlissa is going to turn to the cleric again, Levin Drokir, and she's going to demand, how much time is left, and do you have what we need? And Levin is going to look up from their book, where they are still writing, and they're going to, look a little, surprised at the being addressed so suddenly. They're going to look back at their notes a moment and say, I have 5 questions we can verify, and we have at least 20 minutes left, so there should be time. Orlis is going to look to the others, who are going to nod at this, and say, You'll remain there, nice and quiet, while we get some answers from another source. And then you shall have our determination. And Orlissa is going to turn and move away from the cage toward the cleric. The other two are going to remain behind a moment as Adaris Sandrini is going to step forward, hands spread, palms up, in a kind of a what can you do gesture, and say, we appreciate the time you've taken to formulate answers to our questions. And we take into heavy consideration the company you keep. I have been told that one should judge others by their friends. And you can see, as he says this, that he is holding strong eye contact with Seltharis in her tiefling form. And Seltharis, for all she's worth, you see, is smiling and winking at him. He clears his throat. She said, we'll have our judgment soon. He goes to join Orlissa. Only Thelmina Barafas remains here, watching over you. You can see that there is a level of respect in her eyes. But she takes a look back at her compatriots, who are discussing something with the cleric, as the cleric is beginning to lay out a ritual. And she's going to kind of lean in to whomever is closest or willing to speak. So is it true that this General Tatsuya entered in Devil?
Is that directed toward me?
It's directed toward anyone who will answer it, so whoever's interested to speak up has something to say. Right. Bendar.
It is true, and he was not easy to defeat.
Especially after you turned into a raging monster.
I had to sacrifice my life to kill him. Thankfully, reincarnate.
Going, as you say, I had to sacrifice my life. There's that moment of your life. Well, I got better.
Yeah.
Jevil, you stepped forward. Did you have something to say?
He's going to say, oh, yeah. Yeah, it came as a surprise.
It would certainly have surprised us. We believed him a true follower of Bahamut, through and through.
So did we.
Well, like we said earlier, we still believe that he was still, but his methods were not the greatest.
Listen, stupid.
Led astray, as many are. The evil gods, Tiamat included, are corruptors. They are inflamers of humanoid will, ambition, desire for power or wealth. They take what naturally we all contend with, those voices. Nudge us to do things that are less than honorable in order to gain, and they make them into shoves and shouts. They make those urges sound pleasant and practical. So, there are times that one cannot be blamed their entirety for the way things play out if their intentions, it's pure, but it must always be considered, all of the factors. Tatsuya is yet to be judged, though perhaps that is being handled by a power greater than ours. Dead. In the background you can see the cleric performing their ritual, and you can hear as they make pleas in Celestial and receive answers that shake the ground and the trees around you. Via Ash, you will know that the answers to all of the questions they ask are yes, except for the last one, which is no. The generals are going to return, and they're going to confer amongst themselves quietly. They're close by, so Vendar, you are able to hear that they feel that most all of what you said is true, but there is one question at least that remains to be asked before full judgment can be made. You know ahead of time that they plan to ask one more question.
I'll let everybody know over the bond.
After a few moments of quiet conference, they're going to straighten themselves up and face you once more. They say, "The Lady of Knowledge Ione has informed us that the lion's share of the important points you made are true. Tatsuya did make some form of deal. Tatsuya did revive the children of Tiamat himself. And yet, his goal never changed. It was kill Tiamat. We were also able to learn that it is possible for Tiamat to be killed by mortals on the material plane. Tatsuya's plan was not without merit. We verified that you did fight General Tatsuya, and he assumed the form of an archdevil. But our final question gives us pause, because you told us that you wish to seal the children of Tiamat as they were before. Is that correct?
We need to let them know that we had to make the deal with Elsman. Let's stay over the bond.
I'm just gonna, for the second, acknowledge with everything he said. Yes.
And yet, when we inquire with the Lady of Knowledge, she tells us that this, among all the other things great and terrible that you've told us, is false. You will answer for what it is you intend to do.
It's only partially false.
So I will speak and say that's because that question cannot be answered with a yes or a no. Or if with the part with how the situation is, it cannot be. Well, wait.
Make
It's
the reality plain, General.
Yeah, that
It's well, hold on the bottom, guys. What I'm thinking is that it's not that we don't have the intent that we want to do it. It's that we can't because of the deal we made. We haven't figured out that situation.
yes, but our plan is to not seal Elsman. That's why it was a no.
Yes.
We had already planned
Yeah.
before that deal to not seal one of them,
It's
because
true,
that
yeah, so-
that makes it harder for people to redo it.
So we should say that in order to seal the dragons, we need to get these scales back. Unfortunately, when we were obtaining scales, one of them was guarded by 3 ancient dragons, or 2 of them were guarded by 3 ancient dragons, and we had to make the deal to trade Elsaman's scale for Karasoth and Vala's scale. And part of that deal was to not seal Elsaman.
Eschew nuance, General. Be plain. What is the plan?
Just open up, say it.
Should I just talk?
I think you should. They know something's up, so we should just say it.
Yeah. Go ahead, because I need a minute, anyways.
So, as we told you before, the dragons were sealed with these scales.
Fewer words. What is the plan? Explanation when it's asked for.
So, well, we had to reobtain these scales after the dragons were unsealed. When we went to reobtain,
what is the plan? I don't need the explanation yet.
right, the plan is to let Elsaman not be sealed while we seal the rest of them.
You will seal all but the blue.
Yes.
That is the plan.
Yes.
Is there any other part of the plan, not the explanation, that we need to know about?
So, anybody else think of anything? I guess you just say that the part of a deal we made, or part of our agreement.
Well, part of the
with
plan
Elsman-
is hopefully that Elsmant won't join in the fight, and
I'd say as part of the plan is that Elsman and his horde, his brood, are supposed to stay out of the fight.
And
So when we arrive, him and his brood should either be gone or should leave without fighting.
well, I'm gonna say this over the bond. I think they just want a clear answers if we plan to seal Elsamanth in the future, or we're gonna leave him roaming free for forever.
That's
What do you
something I
want?
can't answer right now.
Due to the
There,
agreement
we
we
also-
made, we can't.
We also can't answer about the fact that we're hoping that doesn't join in the fight because we haven't had a meeting with him yet.
Yeah, we should probably let him know. It's when we made this agreement to not reseal Elsaminth. It was with his grandson, his Arisoth.
No,
Right, that's
that was Azurai.
Azurai. With his grandson Azurai. We haven't actually yet convened to form the details of what will happen yet with Elsaminth, though we should soon.
At this, Orlissa is going to, throw her hands up and storm back over to the cleric, leaving the other two generals there. The other generals are going to, excuse me, make a hand gesture high above their head, and the ring of soldiers around you is going to close in very close to the walls of the cage. And Barafas is going to say in a very calm, almost patronizing voice, "Now, it might be helpful to understand the reason for that decision."
Okay. So, in order to reseal the dragons, we needed to reobtain the scales.
These are the ones
we were given
that Tatsuya hunted down.
Yes. So we were given the blue scale by the Tritons here. But when we went to retrieve the red and green scales, it was guarded by 3 ancient dragons. Rather than risk our deaths at the hands of those dragons, we decided to make a deal with them to trade the blue scale for the red and green scale so that we could reseal Karasoth and Bala. And we also already have the black scale for, what was it, Chasharan?
Darn.
And Widamir is still sealed, so we will seal the other 3 dragons, but we will be unable to seal Elsaminth.
It is your belief that this was a worthwhile trade.
We believe this was our best chance of succeeding in our plan.
And we have the capability of finding the scale at any time.
Scale was given to this Azurai.
Yes, the children of Tiamat themselves can't touch the scale.
But their children can. And
Yes.
Azurai withholds the scale because he wishes to keep his grandfather around.
We can't quite know what his machinations are, but that is what he told us.
Is there anything else that we, should we be allies, would want to know about this Azurai? The deal for the scale?
On the bond, I'm going to say, I don't think we did anything crazy, right, guys? Like,
Yeah, no, we know that, as a blues dragon, he is selfish, and thus whatever plan he has must be good for him. Whether that plan involves doing something with Elsaminth afterwards, or whether he is loyal to his grandfather, it's impossible to tell. The other 2 dragons that were with him were not blue dragons. So there was a green dragon. What was the other one?
Also
red
green.
Dragon? There were 2 green dragons.
They were siblings, according to them.
What were their names?
Indrix and Armashal.
The names were Indrix and Armashal. They said they were siblings.
I want our alliance to succeed because I do not wish for an outrageous amount of deaths, like the loss of the majority of my tribes at the hands of Shisharan.
Or the loss of more Sorkoja at the hands of Bala.
Great many people have already suffered for this victory. That one could be given for thinking of the cost that has already been sunk and wishing to finish it, honor those losses, balance, scale.
It also depends on the perspective because I did not set out with that. It was not a choice that I was given.
Is it your opinion, any of you, all of you, that this deal with Azurai can be trusted, and further to that, that the world will be safe enough with still one of Tiamat's children roaming it? We have 4 now, so it would be undeniably safer. But we had none for a long time. One wonders if it is not worth a little extra effort to get back to that.
This is out of character.
Okay.
This is Elise being confused. Wasn't part of the plan to actually kill some of them?
Some of
the children.
But we have to kill them in order to see them, but they'll just come back if we don't seal them unless we kill all 5 within an hour.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I think this mechanism is a little bit confusing, admittedly. Because Tatsuya's plan excuse me, was to kill all of the children. And in doing so, in the very specific way he was going to do it, it would summon Tiamat. But what you plan to do is to seal the children. But in order to seal the children, you have to first kill them in almost the same way that Tatsuya would have done.
Okay, so if we just kill one without sealing, it would just come back.
It can just come back if you don't seal it. But the reason it was important for Tatsuya to do it the way he was, which is information you got from the Platinum Sentinels, is that in that moment of them dying, their soul first goes into a ritual. Sealing them after that pulls the soul out of that ritual and then locks it from reincarnating. It stays in the ritual until either the ritual is completed, or they're sealed, or they reincarnate. There is a timer on it, basically. That's why. So, if all 5 souls go in within the time limit, Tiamat comes back. If you seal them, then the ritual can't complete, Tiamat doesn't come back, and they don't come back. If you do nothing, and you don't kill all of them, Tiamat doesn't come back, but eventually, after some amount of time, which is not certain, they reincarnate.
Okay.
Yeah, it admittedly, it's a little confusing, and I apologize for that, because I made it up.
I want to say...
It makes perfect sense in my head.
I'm wondering if I'm wording this properly. We don't know all the repercussions of what the deal we made with the Elsamith. But we're not against sealing his sire. And like I said, we have the ability to find the scale.
So, there is more that you should be clear about in the details of your relationship with Azurai. It sounds like. Marafas says helpfully, smiling very patiently at you as she lays it out.
Out of character, do we know dragons keep their word? Like when you enter into a deal with a dragon, that they will do at least what they said they will do.
Well,
We learned that they weren't bound to it like demons are, but then we also learned that blue dragons are usually good to their word.
yes. So, empirically, all the dragons you have dealt with thus far have done what they said they would do, with some caveats. Think specifically of Ronarel, who did, as he was asked by Doral, flew you guys to Sudaran. But then, once you got there, he still charged you to get to the ground safely, or attempted to.
Yeah, like they're more letter of the law rather than spirit of the law.
It's hard to make that generalization. I'm only saying that you have empirical data about just a couple of dragons, and all of those dragons have upheld any agreement you had with them to a certain degree. Like in Ronarel's case, letter, not spirit. But I would not say you have enough information to reliably generalize like that. It could be that if you met a green dragon and asked for something, they'd say sure, and then never deliver. You just don't have that data.
Ah, fair enough.
So, in your dealings, the dragons have always been true what you asked for. But your dealings have been one green, one blue, who delivered scales as they promised, but then also promised a meeting with Elsamith, which they haven't delivered on, and a gold dragon who very much wants you to succeed, so she has done everything you've asked for. And another gold dragon who has kind of been very helpful to you when he's been around, but, is busy with shit. I think that's the extent of the dragons you directly had any dealing with. Like, the green dragons that you met, Indrix and Armashal, you didn't make any agreement with them. They simply didn't kill you because the blue dragon Azurai told them not to. So they did hold up that end, but that agreement wasn't with you, it was with Azurai. I'm just trying to say that there's nuance here, and I think it defies generalization, and I tell you that as a warning.
Okay.
If he breaks our deal with him, then that means we don't have a deal with him anymore, and we'll be free to see who else. It'll be a hell of a lot easier to take out just one dragon than it is all four at once. So.
Are you saying this out loud, or is this on the bond?
On the bond.
Okay.
But I can't say it out loud if people think it's good.
You can say it. Oh, well, at least for me, on my end, I say you can say that, because honestly, that's what I was originally feeling. Like, I'm saying this over the bond, is that, like, I would like to seal all of them. I just didn't know what we got ourselves into, because I don't know much about if there was power behind the deal, like devils.
Okay.
Wait, did we
Uh,
actually make a deal with Azurai not to steal Elsamith, or were we waiting to meet Elsamith to make that deal?
Don't recall exactly what we said to Elsamith.
Other than giving,
Azurai.
I don't remember if we specifically said we wouldn't seal him, or we gave him the scale and said we wouldn't go after him. I don't remember.
I can only say, without the scale, you cannot seal him. As long as Azurai has the scale, you cannot seal Elsamon.
Yeah, that I know.
So, just to say, like, that's a part of the agreement that isn't necessary to be said, because, to get the scale, you'd have to kill Azurai. If you kill Azurai, your deal's broken.
Yeah, but Azurai also didn't know that I can find the scale at any time. Click.
Probably.
Yeah, but what I mean is, have we actually made a deal not to use the scale? Which means if someone else were to hunt down and retrieve the scale, like that might be the thing that we can't retrieve the scale because of the deal we made with Azurai. But if somebody else retrieved the scale, we could still go ahead with the sealing of Elsamith.
Again, though, this isn't like a bound contract like with a devil. This is an agreement between two beings, and Azurai would almost certainly see that as us breaking the agreement.
Well, actually, it's a little more fun than that, and I'm going to lay this out plain, because you've had a lot of time to talk amongst yourselves and to other people about this. I will remind the party that you have been told, hinted, indicated, several times since your interaction with Azurai that in doing this exchange, and based on how Azurai spoke to you, treated you, it seemed that others, at the very least, believe you are now part of the Blue Dragon's horde. This does mean that you are possessions, tools to be used. And so, by that logic, which the party has been given, you can assume it is extremely reasonable to believe that should someone else take it upon themselves to go and acquire the scale to seal Elsamith, Azurai would call upon his tools to make sure that doesn't happen, and you would be given a quest to go kill whoever took the scale and get it back.
Well, we're not actually bound to that, are they? Could we betray the deal?
You could.
I mean, if we're going to do it, we'd have to kill Azurai anyway.
Yeah. And I'm sure that Azurai is a lone dragon and doesn't have any friends.
That's not like it'd be easy.
Or other horde.
Other horde. It's incredibly likely, given the way he dealt with you, that he's versed in acquiring possessions such as you, who might be willing to go after you, or go after the Scalehaver, if they steal it.
Or, well, if also were his horde, he could also call upon us to seal his grandsire if he wants him out of the way.
Yeah, he might have taken the scale so that he could have that over Elsamon. Because usually,
But anyways,
the dragons, they're subservient to their sires, so normally Elsamon would demand that Azurai have to do everything he says, but if Azurai has that over him,
he's on a beach sipping a drink. His grandsire comes, hey, why don't you do this? Get out of here. I'm busy.
don't piss me off or I'll have you sealed.
It has not been proven to you that all dragons are subservient to their sires or grandsires.
I said usually.
I mean, just
They would
as
demand-
point of fact, Karasoth has demanded the presence of much of his brood and has not gotten a response, especially from the likes of Ronaril.
Oh, that just reminded me of frickin' Overlord.
So, just saying that, it's really dangerous to make assumptions about how these creatures work and think, and say, well, they're going to do this thing, so we just have to do this other thing. Like, you're 20th level, you're incredibly powerful, you could wish yourself out of the problem, but short of wishing yourself out of the problem, you can have quite a lot of difficulty with creatures like this.
Yeah, this is also my first time being 20th level playing a D&D game, so like that's why I'm also very reserved.
So, could you kill Azurai? Probably. If it was a one-on-one fight. Or, one-on-party fight, yeah. But you've been told that blue dragons are savvy. So, probably got his eye on you. And because, as you were told when you made the deal, if you're part of his horde, he wishes to protect his investments. So he's probably got his eye on you by some means at all times, just so that he can send in protection should you need it. But that would also mean that he could be aware of any, double dealing under the table that you try to do.
Yeah, that's why I was worried about my wording and why I said we weren't against.
I think we should say that, we can't predict exactly how Azurai will act or what his plans are, but we do believe it is within his own self-interest to follow the deal.
It does seem that way. And, again, as long as you're part of his horde, you are protected as any possession of his, so should he be aware of you coming into danger, he's likely to act to protect that investment. So there are, as I've stated in the past, pros to being in your position, as well as cons. But as long as you are part of another creature's horde in the way that the blue dragons do, it is possible he could call on you and ask for something.
Alright, so I believe we answered all the questions, so it's their response right now?
Sort of. You have said a lot of words, but Barafas has continued to hint that you have not been forthcoming about your relationship with Azurai, and that is important to any sort of relationship you will have with her and her army going forward.
Over the bottom, say that the best response would be we did what we had to do.
We made the best in the time.
Yeah, but we do not have we do not see it as a friendly relationship. Do you guys agree with that?
He is asking you to name that relationship.
Alright, so I guess we should just be honest then. From what we understand, after what we've learned about blue dragons, is Azurai will expect us to. He thinks of us as part of his horde, and he would expect us to do as he says. If you were to ask us to do something like defend the scale from being taken, or retrieve the scale if it were taken. As of now, it is unsafe and unwise for us to make any sort of a plan to deceive or try to backstab him.
You say that out loud, not proposed on the bond?
Yeah, I'll say that out loud.
Okay. He's going to take that in, nodding. I believed it was going to be something like that. And thank you. But it does return me to my previous inquiry. Do you believe that things will be manageable with Elsameth out and about?
I think it can be managed, and if it becomes untenable...
But no, I won't even say it that way. I'm going to speak out. It's like, it's not a case of will it be manageable. We will make it manageable.
She kind of hums thoughtfully, eyeing you both. This army, a great deal of trust, belief in General Tatsuya, the mission you serve. It is a shock that has, I'm certain, shaken some of our own to their core to learn, turn events. We will need some time to determine what is the best path forward. But it does seem that you have been forthcoming, and that you are true to goals that you have laid out to us. We know you now, she says, looking over the group. We will reach out when it's time to make the next movement. Expect that call within the next day or two. Until that time, General, Lieutenants General, she says after a pause, gesturing toward the Tritons. My lady, she says, very uncertainly toward Seltharis, who simply grins at her. You are free to return whence you came.
We will continue to train the soldiers on Stormreef Isle in hopes with a favorable response from you.
We should. I guess we can do that when they contact us.
Were you gonna say something there, Jacob?
Well, I was going to say we should confirm when we're going to meet and stuff, and let them know about our ability to transport our troops there, so that to let us know when they arrive and stuff. But then I also figured that we can just do that next time we talk.
Oh, like just to be forthcoming and just say, by the way, that we have this ability to transport the large number of troops magically, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so like if they arrive earlier than they thought, or if they're going to arrive later than they thought, then we can adjust when we're going to get there to exactly when we need to get there.
I'm really quick deciding if that's something that's absolutely needed to say at the moment, because we don't even know the response for.
Yeah, I think it's something we can save until we get their response.
Yeah, because we don't even know if it's going to be favorable or not.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we will be forthcoming with that when they do respond.
Continue, Arathos was saying, as according to our original marching plan, we would be outside the city of Watchtower Point, outside of the rain, the dragon's patrols as they've been explained to us by the Avangardians. The next 12 to 14 days, I would err on the side of 14 given the delays, including the time to ensure that all among our number are of one heart.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I will say Avandra, well, Avandra, I guess this is a good opportune time to mention it since they mentioned that. So, I will say, for the sake of knowing our capabilities of travel. We have magical means, and we've formulated a plan to where we can get the troops to any particular spot instantaneously.
You are not concerned about the dragons attempting to thwart any magical arrivals?
I do not know of any means to thwart it with what plan we had. Is there something that you know that would assist us?
We are marching. Because any portal opening can be countered by a sufficiently powerful mage, and our research shows that dragons are known to be significantly powerful mages.
I'm gonna look at Laramentis and be like,
Yes.
calculate this?
You get some.
We'd have to know where and when the portal would be in order to cancel it if we teleport far enough outside of range, say like a day's march or so, then we could.
I'm still gonna be looking at Laramentis and be like, do you calculate this?
If I'm the one that opens it, as long as I'm subtle casting it, it shouldn't be able to be countered. Dispelling or preventing are other options, though.
Yes, they didn't say counterspelled, so imagine in this case that counter just means countermeasures,
Yeah.
including
Yeah,
dispel.
I am. I'm just trying to inform Yuki of what we have going on.
Well, then I will speak up for the response of that is like, so any particular your knowledge would be very helpful, and then picking once you've made your discuss things, our meetup if we are going to combine our forces or ally together.
Very well, General. Once we know our position matters, we will contact you and we can discuss the details of the cooperation of our forces at that time, including the logistics and any way that we might be able to help you should we still be committed. At that time, you will receive a call from our Cleric of Iones. We'll be able to have an extended verbal conversation.
Does your Cleric of Ione prefer to contact our Cleric for the means of communication?
He's not a cleric.
Oh,
Our scholar.
our Scholar of Ione.
The exact methodology, Justin determined it.
Okay. I'm not. Alright, well. Because now we have become familiar, I figured that you guys sending is also an option now, or you know of us.
Sending is how we will inform you of most things that pertain to you, but it is insufficient for the nuance of combat logistics.
Fair enough.
Then, hope to be able to have productive words ending with you in the next day or two. They're going to make a gesture high in the air, and you're going to see all of the soldiers in the first two rings around you are going to straighten up and lower their weapons to their side, like, as a unit. And then this action is going to carry back through the ranks, and they'll all take the 1, 2, and then a third step back as outward-facing ranks as the circle just expands around you, allowing you to feel a lot less claustrophobic. Yeah, no way to tell, I believe, but you can imagine that at this time the force cage is gone and you are capable of teleporting.
I will. Well, then we'll probably. Who's teleporting us out of here again?
Tomb Bear.
I think Leah's also capable. Sam is occupied at the moment, so.
We're gonna do the teleportation circle again? That's easier, right?
Yeah, I can only plane shift.
I can teleport.
You need a tree for that?
Yeah.
Can't we just like plant a tree to instantly grow one?
You got an acorn?
Kind of neat. There are nearby trees, so you'll have to move through several ranks of soldiers to get to it. As you're like, okay, well, thanks for the talk. I'm just gonna kind of squeeze my way through. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me. I just need to get to that tree over there. Yep, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Too bad we can't make a tuning fork for the mansion.
Wait. Druids are uncommon, right? Wouldn't that be an interesting show of magic to have that happen?
Druids are exceedingly rare, and yes.
Yeah, why don't we do the druid way? Just so it'd be like, did they just walk into a tree?
You gonna do it the druid way?
We can do it the druid way.
Alright, how many people can you get through, or is it, how long is it open? You got a bunch of guys with you.
It lasts around... It says, for the duration, any creature can step into the target plant and exit from the destination plant by using 5 feet of movement.
Yep. So we just need to make sure that, you know, we've got 60 feet of movement, 60 feet here. To get everyone.
I have enough spell slots if I need to cast it. At least twice.
Looks like a single casting. If everybody, like, you open it and everybody just dashes through, you'll be able to get everybody through. Hunk a line to the tree.
Just grab
The
each
slow ones
other's
in
hips and
front.
just dance.
Yeah. So you do have this, you know, kind of extremely awkward, like, unfortunately, like, you can clearly tell by the expressions on the faces of everyone there that they sort of expected you to just disappear again the way you had appeared. But you kind of, like, you know, bow your thanks, we'll talk to you later kind of thing, and then kind of start, like, pushing your way into the ranks of soldiers around you who were literally just moments ago on edge, ready to, like, get into this potentially very lethal combat against very powerful people. They were ready to potentially die trying to kill you, and now they've got to just, like, shuffle aside and let you get at this fucking tree.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flex there, Tristan. Come on, we're just like, yeah,
I'm just telling you how this flex is going. They're very confused.
Yeah, that sounds about on par for
our group. Yes,
and
exactly.
with anyone that we meet.
We
Yeah,
always
we're good at awkward.
Yes, we always. Isn't that why everyone loves Raiken? He just makes it awkward.
As awkward as possible. So you're going to finally get through these soldiers who all look terribly confused. And, you keep seeing these looks shot toward the generals who are just stand there stoic. They don't even, shrug, whatever. They just look very stoic as they watch you go. Vendor, you can tell that they are struggling to keep straight faces, like this is all part of the plan. Jebel, you're going to walk up to this tree, you're going to visualize one of the trees on the beach of Stormy Vial, and you're going to reach out and lay your hand against the bark, and that bark is going to start flowing and remolding itself until there is this twisting wooden doorway in the trunk of the tree, and you're going to point into it, and everybody's going to run through it.
Yeah. Very dignified.
Like run or more like a jog?
You gotta run. You've got 45 feet of people here, and you need to get through in 60 feet. You only have 60 feet on a dash.
Well, you stick the fast ones in the back.
Yeah, I'm faster than that.
Slow ones in the front, faster in the back.
Yeah, my walk speed is 45 feet. I got those boots.
Yeah, but you can't just pass through people, so you're still slowed down by anyone slower.
Yeah, so
All
put the
right.
slow ones up front.
So we're through the portal, right, Tristan?
You through the portal. You make it through. I'm just saying, it's not exactly dignified.
Not the greatest flex, huh?
I wave as I go through.
There is.
They don't know
Shot
what
you
spells
through.
are available.
There is shock on the faces of the people closest as you do your little wave. Remember, again, that you are a gnome, and most of these people here are human or of human height. There are a mingling of other, dwarves and gnomes and halflings, but it is largely like humans and half-elves.
Laramentis is distracted with his book, so that's why he didn't teleport us. And Leah just doesn't want to do it in front of everyone.
Excuse me, what? What do I not want to do in front of
Yeah, offered to plane shift.
Oh.
I'm trying to rationalize using Jebel. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, it's easy. Jebel wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Or just Jebel wanted to do it.
Oh, Jebel's been planning this for like 2 or 3 weeks now.
He was excited to do it. He wanted the surprised faces. That's his pride and joy.
Well, there we go then.
I honestly am currently thinking, what's the likelihood that, the nearest soldier just bolts through?
Just see.
Yeah,
Well,
just
you're
be
part of
like,
the army
who are we, what's the truth? They've heard portions of what's been said. Again, the only one using thaumaturgy there, so the only one who's truly being heard by, everyone there was Saltharis. Everything else was pretty much a conversation between you and the generals, which could be easily overheard by the closest people, and the people by the tree would be able to hear bits and pieces. And they probably were only hearing or getting past the most outrageous things you were saying. So the people close to where you are departing are the ones who are most likely to be I'm suspicious of this. I for the good of the rest of my army, I need to see what's really going on here, and I'm weighing if one of them is going to try and bolt through.
Oh, I can tell you, if one does, they'll be like, well, welcome to Storm Reef. Let's get you started training.
Yeah, he's part of our army now.
I think one of them is. I think one of them is.
You're going to be executed when you get back for desertion.
Not trying to show them what the penalty for desertion is.
Alright, so we will go back to... You sound really creepily happy about that?
It's... Yay, execution!
Why would you be happy about that?
Because I'm confused as to why they're picking this choice when would clearly be the outcome of their return to this place.
Maybe that's not clearly the outcome for them.
Maybe the generals will be like, okay, so what did you see? Awesome, thanks for telling us. You get promoted.
Still.
It'd be pretty bad if he didn't come back, or if like he was like, no, he's gone.
Wait, so
You know, have a,
did I see like? Well, I don't. How fast am I? I'm only 30. Am I like in the middle then?
Probably wherever you want to be.
All right. So did someone actually come through with us?
Yes.
Private Joannis.
Just one.
Joannis came with you.
Soldier. What are you doing?
You know, the fucking fucking so many of you assholes.
It's pronounced Jones, sir. No, it's Joannis now.
They're all gonna be like this. Yeah, Frangela, Joannis. Not you. No.
A-Rod. You mean Aaron? No, it's A-Rod.
Done fucked up.
Jay Quellen.
Yuki.
Dookie.
Peoples.
Jaro.
Sure, this one. Why not? A band. GM Jules, rename.
I need to watch some more Keenan and Peele. I haven't watched them guys in a while.
Pretty good. Ian Peel.
Alright, so... One, two... Lost Jebel!
No, not Jebel.
I just kind of imagined that, like, Jebel was the one standing next to the portal, making sure everyone gets through before he goes through himself in case he ended up needing to cast it again. And this guy just, like, bolts past through it, and he just sort of shrugs and goes through after him.
Well, I don't know this guy's name, so I'll be like, so when he comes through, or after he comes
Soldier,
through...
what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like... a minute, like, to grasp that he came through and be like, Soldier, yeah, what are you doing?
Or... Oh, like I wanted. Other than having armor and a weapon. Death. Wait. Better at least. There we go. He's going to look around at you. Look around at the island. You know, kind of like you see him like breathe in the air, and he's going to look back, and as he looks back, the tree doorway is going to be slowly closing, and he's going to look at you, General Yukikaze, and say, "I took it upon myself to ensure that everything you told my generals was true. I will report back to them."
you know, they communed to verify it already, right?
Words are cheap, sir.
So-
he pauses and says, "Sir."
He's my lieutenant general. So
General, then.
yes, address him as so. And what gave you the power in rank to be able to speak to your generals?
My legs and my will, sir.
Well, if you are here and you do not wish to abandon our cause, I will require you to participate in the training and keep your skills honed for the battle to come.
You wish for me to train with the recruits?
Or
As well, you're here.
we need to keep everyone in shape because I did not lie to your generals, and I want everyone will be ready for the task ahead.
He seems to think this over. You see his eyes rapidly, like, searching left and right, not focused, though, like, as he's thinking down multiple, like, pathways. He goes, very well. I train while I am observing you.
Have
We
fun.
don't. Yeah, we do not have any. We do not tolerate slacking off.
He looks around at the lot of you. Very well. You may call me Private Joannis.
Well, greetings, Private Joannis. It is an unexpected pleasure to meet you.
I call you General.
I am General Yukikaze.
Well, I hope that I will have good things to report to.
I like this guy. He's got spunk.
Where I come from, we call it initiative.
Well, you're here now.
That's at the start of combat.
You're here now, so it's spunk.
Very well. Monk. I assume you are also a Lieutenant General.
Yes, Lieutenant General Wright.
General Raiken. Have very interesting armor. Like your friends.
I am the champion of cold.
That is Cord's armor.
Or does not.
Well, it's the champion of Cord's armor. Yeah, it was lost for a long time, but we found it.
Did not know any such thing existed. It's impressive to see. The champion.
I would regale you with how we got it, but it's quite the story.
I want all of us to like look at Raiken at this moment. Like all of us just, like look at him.
We got time.
As long as it is
Go ahead.
not
Regale
considered
him.
slacking off, I would hear it.
You all are
Yeah.
terrible at first impressions.
Yeah. Well, let us proceed back to camp. Everyone, we need to inquire how things are going and continue with the tasks at hand.
Lots to do and less time in which to do it.
I got shit to make. I'm gonna go back to Semi-Vendor.
But does Raiken actually remember now how he got the armor? Or was that only...
No, he'll never be able to remember it.
Like he
He knew briefly because of what Kubriel did, but it's gone by now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I thought it was only a temporary thing.
Yep.
But he's trying to play it off like he remembers because the guy doesn't know that.
Yeah, so here's the guy telling you, all right, as long as it's not not considered slacking, I would hear it. Everybody else is like, all right, we got shit to do. They leave. It's you and Joannis.
Well, I would have said that out loud and communicated. It's like, we're going back to camp now. If you want to talk, you can stay, but head back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Raiken is going to use the opportunity to not talk. He's going and trying to be like, "Yep, we got too many things to do. You'll have to hear it another time."
You're like the one person who doesn't know how Raiken got his armor is Raiken.
Yeah, it's
It's
perfect.
beautiful.
But I do love the idea that he knows it's a good story, but he has to get someone else to tell it.
I honestly don't think it could have played out any better if I had planned it.
Yeah, he gets to hear the story of his own heroics over and over and over and over again.
Man,
It's
I'm
new
amazing.
every time.
And it's new every single time.
Yeah. Whenever we tell that story how he got the armor or how he tore that Bahira apart.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. I wish I had been there. Raiken, you were there. Oh my gosh!
You're the
God,
one who did it.
So
Like,
amazing.
Raiken, this story is about you.
I don't remember
Wow. I sound so awesome.
I'm even cooler than I thought I was, and I already thought I was pretty cool. And that's a story of how you got Private Joannis in your army.
Woo! We got another.
What's that? 10,001?
13,001?
13,001.
This is like
Make all
that-
the difference.
what was that? The Austrian army that marched. 80 of them marched away, and 81 returned.
It was Liechtenstein, I think.
Shine. I love that. It's like, oh, they made a friend.
So I'll say, like, the time of day people are still training, right, Tristan?
Yes, though it is, you only spent like an hour there.
Oh, we're gonna have to do night training.
I'm guessing Clevergill's gonna go around. I think I'm gonna go with Clevergill and see each unit and see how things are. I'm gonna be doing my rounds. I'm gonna do a rounds.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so-
Clevergill is definitely returning to his soldiers and making sure that everything proceeded as planned during his absence, though, like, you can see that he's quite casual about it. Like, he was not even gone as long as he thought he would be.
Yeah, which I will too, but just you know what I mean. Just doing my due diligence.
I'm gonna go with Clevergill because I have questions.
There. Alright, let's do those questions. You know what you want. You are with Clevergill. He is moving to the soldiers and making inquiries of his officers in Aquan. You are walking with him, and Yukikaze is with you as well. Looking, important.
Clevergill's a general, right?
Yes.
Then I will turn to his General. Clevergill.
He's going to look to you, and then he's going to look to Bastion. And with a little bit of struggle, he'll say, "How can I help you?"
And I will look between the two and just say, have we just been training the troops here during the day so far? Have they been basically sleeping through the night?
He's going to take a moment to think about that, and then he's going to look at you. You're going to see a little struggle in his eyes, and then he's going to turn to Bastion. He's going to speak to him in Aquan. And Bastion.
Well, I look to Bastion as well,
Yeah.
so that if needed, he could.
Oh,
try and-
they got that message. There's just Bastion is always going to give his leader the opportunity to answer for himself. And
yeah,
you can tell that he wants to, he just does not have the confidence in the words, so he's going to lean on Bastion here. He's going to speak to him in Aquan, and Bastion is going to nod, and like, as he understands, like, okay, you were trying to use big words. He's going to say, given that your soldiers are primarily diurnal, they need sleep on a regular schedule, we figured that it was most useful to train when they were ready for it, when they wake up, and allow them to sleep at night so as not to destroy your army before it could fight the dragons.
Pretty
No, I
limited
was
on
just
time.
I was just wondering, would it be helpful at all to maybe train them at night as well, so that they, on the off chance that the battle goes into the evening, that it won't be a surprise to their systems. They'll be prepared for an extended conflict.
There's
Be
short
one long
One
battle.
at a time of day that they have not yet really experienced any kind of strenuous activity in.
There's going to be a short exchange between them, and Bastion is going to say, training effectively at night means losing 2 proper days of training to gain 1 day of night training. If we were to continue on that, it could balance out, but since we understand that you wish to magically transit soldiers there, it seems to us that we will be able to dictate the terms of the engagement. And we are on a timeline, are we not? There is only so much time you are allowed to fight these dragons.
Yes, but things can go awry. Best laid plans of mice and gnomes.
If you wish to do this, we can make it happen, though we would want several nights in a row to balance out the loss of the days before and after.
Well, I don't know if we'll actually do that. I'd have to concur with General Yukikaze and the other lieutenants general.
I'll be
But
looking
it
at
is
that.
something to consider, I think.
A large,
I'm looking at you, Jebel.
Yeah, other lieutenants general. It's like we're
If we had lots of time, that would be a great idea. But I think we're on too tight a schedule to do it.
a large,
And these people are not trained enough, normally to. I think that the training they're doing needs to continue.
a large portion of your force is human and dragonborn. People who very specifically cannot fight well in the dark with training. I think General Sturgis thinks that we should do our best to play to your strengths. Right. Dark, they must be. It's dark at the bottom of the ocean. Senses. Yeah, dark vision 60 feet. They're pretty good. Should our best control the conditions under which we fight the dragons. We were told that we had a short timeline to fight them, so if we focus the battles and primary engagement to be early in the daylight, then the final engagement cannot be after nightfall.
we're not anticipating that the dragons might try to control engagements as well. From what I understand, our dealings with
The
them,
dragon.
they are very intelligent.
Dragons are intelligent, but they cannot fight an army that is not there to be fought. And if the army appears instantaneously and engages them, the only thing they could do to control that is to disengage. Who think they are likely to sacrifice their pride and disengage?
I don't think I know enough about these dragons to really answer that question.
Well, you do know about chromatic dragons, and they are usually very prideful.
Yeah, but like,
In the deep water, the strongest creatures that one must defend themselves from are driven by hunger. And some are quite intelligent, but always they will follow the need to fill their belly. It has been our experience dealing with others of sapient intelligence like ourselves that pride works similarly to hunger. It can be fought against, but it cannot be ignored.
pride can override common sense.
So, the one thing that we are taught about the great worms is that they are greedy and prideful. Hence our strategy. Engage them and they will reciprocate. They will not run. The one caveat
Maybe
to this is
we
we
might be-
haven't fought one before.
Yes, I think that the wiser stance might be engage them, and they likely won't run. Can't really say for certain.
Indeed.
Alright, we don't have time to prepare for every possibility, so we have to prepare for what we believe is the most likely one.
No Batman gambits.
Yeah, we don't got time for that.
Oh no, I have this dossier here.
Possible thing they might do, plan for, and make it so that they all lead to the same outcome. Alright then. The rest of you are back. Vendar can return to Simdar and continue making.
I do have a question about how my small grenades will work. Do they have to have the effects already in them when I make them, or can I make the small grenades and then infuse them with the effects afterward? Like infuse them with the potions.
You're trying to find out if you can have just a pocket full of generic small grenades that you can choose in the moment to mix in the exact effect and toss it out.
Yeah, like I have a little thing that I can just stick in her to adjust for the situation.
I see, I see. I am confident that if anyone can come up with that, it is Vendar and other Vendar.
And other Ventar.
Give him... Ooh.
Best
Would be
decision I've made so
unstoppable
far.
with 3 of me.
Like having 6
Look at how much dynamite I'll be able to make too. Need that shit.
nitroglycerin. Oh, you've already gathered a ton of that, didn't you?
He's got so much.
Vendar.
Yes.
You head back up to the room with this new idea in your mind. What to that you want to try out, making this generic expansive grenade and find a way to distill down some additive to give it its effect. And as you're turning this over in your mind and kind of figuring out the math on it as you walk, you're going to become aware that there is somebody in the hallway between you and the door to the room.
Uh-huh.
It is
I
a
think I might
soldier.
know who this is.
The soldier salutes you as he stands next to your door as though guarding it. Says, Lieutenant General?
Does he look familiar?
Nope. Another face in a crowd of 3,000 people from all over the world.
Can I help you, soldier?
Yes, sir. I was told that you'd be able to show me the new imports. Weapons.
I want to see the small grenades.
Yes, sir.
He can't come into the mansion, can he?
Probably not.
Okay. Alright, I can
Could have
show you how
him
they
wait
work.
outside the door.
I'll just go grab some and I can come and show you how it works.
Alright, you bring him into the room. Cyrus, you're still out training, right?
Yep.
Okay. Pop you out here so you're not in the room. He waits awkwardly there as you pass through the wall into the magnificent mansion. You're going to go and get your supply, yes?
Yeah, I'll grab a couple. I only have so much. I don't want to waste
true.
them. On them.
And you're going to come back out to him as he's standing there, roughly at parade rest, and looking not as nervous as the last guy, but definitely unsure of himself. And, he makes eye contact with you as you pop back into this dimension. I'm going to explain how it works, and I was asked to collect half of whatever you have for our soldiers.
Of course. Okay. Oh. Is this who I assume it is? Or a representative of who I assume it is?
That's up to you to find out.
Who asked you to retrieve these?
Commanding officer, Varys Thorin.
Do I recognize that name? Is it one of our...
They have never heard that name.
I've never heard that name.
Of course, you know him. He runs the side brigade, special interest, extraplanar weaponry. Very good friend to both of us. Or you just forgot, sir.
Right. And the fact that you asked for half makes the me think I'm pretty sure. Okay. All right, I will take him outside and show him how it works.
All right. He seems to be very attentive to this, getting all the details on what's needed to know, how big an area, what the effects are, how to control that. Are you going to explain your next, iteration of it, which is going to have, be able to be modified on the go, on the fly?
Sure. I'll ask if his mutual friend can provide any more materials. I can make plenty more.
You explain the new idea you had and are about to start experimenting with, and he, seems a bit more confident after all of this. Like, those initial interactions, he would definitely seemed incredibly worried that he might say the wrong thing. But now that, he's been here with you for several minutes, probably 15, as you explained everything and then told him about this new idea, he's going to, you're going to see a much more confident smile as he says, yeah, yes, actually, I was told to give you another material to be working with on these projects, if you could provide evidence that you were making progress with what you had so far.
Excellent.
He's going to take out a small leather pouch from one of his bags. It's got a twine top on. The top is twined off. He's going to hold this out to you. He's going to say, "This is called willweed. It's supposed to have potent effects on the mind of those who inhale it."
Oh.
Another extraplanar gift from our
That's
mutual friend, Commanding Officer General Barris Thorin.
well, that is interesting. I look forward to testing with it. All right, if that's everything you need, let's go back up and I can get the.
And just to be sure, you've given him about 50 of these things that you produced.
Well, he was. I was gonna make 24
Yeah.
15 square foot ones, and then 9 10 square foot ones.
Okay. So he's getting 12 and 4, 12 and 5.
Sure.
I mean, it's up to you how you split that, but I will say you get a feeling you know how your friend would want you to split it.
Yeah, I'll do how I think you would want me to split it then.
Alright, so you're going to give him 5. And you're going to see that this soldier, receives this sack from you and counts its contents. And he looks up at you and nods, as though he is confident that this is the correct number. Like he knows how many you had.
And if you can provide any more small, I would be grateful.
If the general sees fit to communicate to me again, I shall let him know your need.
Excellent. Have a nice day.
Daddy's going to salute, turn on his heel, and walk out the door. You have half of your supply of small grenades, but you have a new material to work with, which seems like it's compatible with your small grenades.
It does. Wonderful work on dragons.
Jeez. Just what we need to fend out with more psychotic drugs.
Think of everything I can do. The world's never going to be the same.
I can't imagine what our new characters are going to have to deal with.
Inventive genius and shitloads of money. And a devil providing me with all sorts of awesome materials.
Sorry, I was just making sure to update my notes. Yeah, so you can hopefully see how there are definite benefits to this deal you made.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to end up bad for everybody else in the future, but hey. You know, in the future when there's some devil army marching on the material plane to take over.
Right, I know those weapons.
That's
Right,
future
so that's what they're
Amaranth's
doing
problem.
with them.
Why does this say Draknir Industries on the side? Oh, shit.
And that's how he gets his Tony Stark origin story.
It is. He gets blown up by his own
And I
weapon.
become Iron Man.
And he goes, wait, have we been double dealing under the table with that? Wait, yes, I knew that. I get that. That was me.
I was the one doing that. Alright. How could I have ever predicted that this would end up poorly?
He'd be both the hero and the villain. It'll be great.
Hey, I saved my friend in the process.
Who's gonna be Jeff Bridges?
Me. But I'm gonna do it with the beard. The long hair. I'm gonna be the dude.
Imagine if it was the dude that betrayed Tony Stark, the head of Obadiah.
Everybody stabs each other in the back sometimes, man. Dude abide.
Just sipping on this white Russian.
I invented it.
Tony Stark made this rug from scraps in a cave.
Fucking rug. I just want to rub my rug, man. Alright. Yes. You seem to have survived your encounter with the army of the Four Queens. Jebel and Yuki are with Clevergill. They are getting things prepared for the training of the army going forward, and Endar is very clearly deep in his serious benefactor. So, the only other things that need to happen are that the Army of the Four Queens needs to get back in touch with you, with their decision instead, and then finish the 14 days until the dragons, which is again a training montage. We fast forward through that. So, if people are okay with it, I would skip ahead to hearing back from the Army of the Four Queen. So if there's anything you want to...
Unless that's... How... Do you have any idea of when that response would be?
I don't.
Okay, then my first question this way. Would it be before we need to start worrying about fish things again?
Fish. I mean, again, your fish thing. Sorry, I was thinking of different fish things. Well, I mean, I guess that's... You tell me what your level of worry about fish things is, because I know how things are happening there, but what are you doing about it?
Well, from my understanding, we had gone and looked, and like the next day or two at least was clear.
Yeah.
And then we were going to deal with that as a group.
Okay.
So I think it's still fine for today.
Uh-huh.
So if that response comes today, then yeah, feel free to go ahead. But if we're rolling over into the next day, then I need to start discussing with people what we're doing about that.
Well, the plan is to roll over to the next day, so perhaps you should start that discussion.
Wasn't the plan to let it kill you and then revive you?
Yes, but there are, things we have to do for that to happen. And I would like to see if we have other options, because frankly, I would like to keep the death count low.
Yeah, but isn't that like the only way it's ever going to let you be? We learned a lot about the
No.
Aboleth from
You gotta take your lumps.
Gotta take your lumps.
I'm a glob, look at the slums.
You've died before, you can do it again.
So you didn't seem to like it.
Well, yeah, but
Exactly!
I'm not the one with an Aboleth chasing me. And hey, I died willingly. I sacrificed myself to save the group.
We didn't have other options there. We have other options here.
Do we?
I
What
believe
other
we
option
do.
do we have?
I do believe sequester was mentioned at one point.
Oh, you're gonna sequester yourself?
No, it.
Can you sequester it? I thought.
It has to be willing.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. We thought about
Really?
imprisoning it before, and
I think that's what I
kind of
probably was
determined
thinking
that
of.
that was like we had one chance, and it was likely.
Yeah, it was imprisonment, and there were 2 chances.
Right, because Leah could do it.
And it was 2 chances that require it to still have all of the legendary resistances burned through, and an extremely expensive 2 chances, because we would also need to create the focus.
Yeah, logistically, reviving you is going to be a lot cheaper than trying to imprison the ancient immortal being.
Yeah. But we also don't know that it'll work. We think it'll
makes
work.
sense. It makes sense to try it before we use all our resources to try to imprison it. And plus, if we fail to imprison it, then it's going to hate all of us and want to kill us all. Right now, it just wants to kill you.
I like being a halfling.
Lucky, be a halfling again.
If you're lucky.
He just looks at you, deadpan.
From across the battlefield while he's in
Yeah,
another
That's
dimension.
not bad being a
Yeah,
dragonborn.
clearly, we're not there, but you can feel it. You know this is happening.
Actually,
I don't know.
Vendar, you can feel it. You feel him glaring at you. You feel that sixth sense of somebody's watching you. And you know the only other person in this room, in this dimension with you, is you. And you are busy. You, is busy making, doing the experiment here. Who's staring at you? You know it's Cyrus. See you.
How are you doing that? Can you see through the bond?
No, but I can project emotions, and I'm working on it real hard.
No, that's
Hold
not
on.
happening.
I think it'd be pretty cool to have another Dragon Ball. We just all slowly become more Dragon Ball.
You look around this room that Laramendus modified for you inside the Magnificent Mansion, the workshop, and you find that there are 2 very oversized green eyes protruding from between stones in the ceiling, looking at you.
They look like Cyrus's
They
eyes.
do look like Cyrus's eyes.
Stop doing that. It's creepy.
They get disembodied eyebrows that make angry eyes at you.
You know how many things I had in here? I could throw something on those eyes and it wouldn't be pleasant. Get them away.
Eyes.
Your eyes that are in here looking at me. How the fuck are you doing that? It's creepy. Stop it.
Don't know what you're talking about. Blank.
The eyes blink and disappear.
If that happens again, I'm poking him.
Oh, chaos.
Yeah.
Not you, Chaos.
Chaos with a C, not a K.
The other chaos. The one who is in the room with us right now.
Alright, so I guess death is the plan. I don't like that that's the plan.
Seems like the best one.
Should have came up with a better plan.
If that's the
off an
plan,
Aboleth.
then it was to save one of you. I don't remember which one, but one of you.
It was to save resin.
Oh, well, shit.
I still think we should eat it.
I should just let him die, and we could have brought it
Resin
back.
was fighting the Aboleth, and you guys interrupted the fight and killed it for him. He's like, okay.
Oh no! The fight interrupted our journey. It fell through the roof onto our heads.
But you appeared in the midst of his fight, wherever it happened to be happening at the time.
I feel like when he's the one that breaks the wall, he's doing the appearing.
Look, you can explain that logic to Resin. I can't guarantee he'll understand it.
I think you should try to explain that logic to the Aboleth, see what it thinks.
I like that plan.
It's just a big misunderstanding. You fell in front of her path.
So, then I guess we do that tomorrow. I need to go home and have a very long conversation about why I won't be around for a little while.
Mom, I might not be a half-bleed next time I see you.
Well, no, it's
That's
worse
the
than
bad-
that.
and hell,
But
you-
if this,
there's a-
well, you missed the point. He can't go home if we take this plan. The plan is for Cyrus to be dead, and for there to be someone new in his place.
You think the
Even
Aboleth
if
should
it's
be
still
involved
Cyrus's
in your
plan.
family?
Only
He
for a
can't go-
little bit. Only for a little bit. But then you can go home. You just will be in a different body.
I mean, you're just going to be polymorphed back into a dragon afterwards, so you can just appear to be a halfling again.
You're missing the point. I cannot take this form again. I cannot go home. With this solution requires the Aboleth to not find out ever.
Was he gonna freaking just wait outside case of your house and for if you
Hasn't it-
come back
This is an
to-
ancient being
They're
from
just
beyond
gonna-
time. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
It's true, but I mean, isn't the point of making him think he killed you that he's going to stop thinking about you? I think he's going to go check up on your family, make sure that he actually killed you. He saw you, he physically killed you.
If anything leaks back to him that Cyrus still exists, I'm at the very least getting back at this particular problem, if not a worse one.
So change your name.
That's what I'm already saying I'm having to do. Like, that's the point I'm making. Like, that's why I'm not doing like just immediately.
Changing your name doesn't mean you can't visit your family. If the only people who know that the new you is Cyrus is us and your mom and maybe Doral, then
There's already
know-
going to be enough weird coincidences as it is that there's all of a sudden going to be a different draconic sorcerer attached to this particular group after this one dies. I can't. Like, it's a thin veil as it is. I can't stress it.
it seems like you're worrying about it more than you should. But hey, it's your life. If you want to try to figure
No,
out a
it's
better
not. It's
solution,
hers.
then
That's the
figure it out.
problem.
If you want to try to figure out a new solution, a different solution, then it's try to figure it out. We can help, but you seem to be pretty.
We've tried and we've looked at the solutions we have, and while there are other ones, they're not ones that, at the very least, you and Raiken are willing to attempt.
Honestly, I'm not going to be the one casting the imprisonment and stuff. But it does seem like if we try to imprison it and fail, then it's just going to want to kill us all the same way it wants to kill you.
I mean, I don't have really any stake in the matter. I'm just gonna roll with whatever we go.
I mean, we are pretty powerful. We could also just not do anything and fight it again when it shows up.
But we don't know where it's showing up, or we don't know what it's doing is the problem.
Well, you could try to figure that out. I don't know. It seems like the people who would best be able to come up with a different plan are busy. I don't know that much about magic or aboleths or any of this shit, so I'll do whatever plan you guys think is the best magical solution to this
So,
really annoying
just to
problem.
make sure I'm not entirely off base here, like, does Mr. DM, does what I'm saying seem reasonable given the situation at hand, or am I just kind of out there?
Is it reasonable that if you resume your old form and your old contacts after supposedly being killed, that the aboleth will see through the ruse?
More or less, yeah.
I mean, it's not unreasonable to think for that to be the case if you assume that a creature that is older than God and has a personal vendetta against the gods is going to spare you more than an incredibly vindictive thought to come and kill you. And then, you know, the idea that it comes and kills you and goes, okay, now back to my real goal of destroying all the gods and taking over all of reality. But hold on, I need to sit here and make sure this guy's really dead, though. I have some suspicions that there's some hijinks going on, and I'm willing to put my big plan on hold for that. I knew it, motherfucker!
Fuck the gods, I'm going just for him now.
That's what I was thinking. I think you're probably just a small...
Could it happen? Yes, but you have been given enough information to know that this thing's incredibly vindictive and has bigger plans than you. So it's willing to put them on hold for a second. If you do something overt and become, you know, enter its crosshairs again, then you're probably shit out of luck. But, like, in the interim, it probably is going to go, alright, that's taken care of, back to the big picture. And, you know, there between shall meet.
Yeah. Assuming we're never going to run into this aboleth again after it doesn't want to... After, you know, it's achieved its goal of killing you, is what my assumption was.
He comes back and he makes a sending to it. Ah, fucker, I'm not dead.
Defeat the purpose of the entire ruse.
Hold on, I think I just saw that aboleth. Hang on. Fuck you! The rest of the party, why did you do that?
I can see Raiken doing it just to instigate stuff.
I'm bored. Let's get an ancient immortal vindictive being to come after us.
Alright, then...
I need to kill it for Cord.
So I have two questions. One, if we're not relatively worried about returning to the form, do we have another option other than reincarnate that we could use so that I am not something else?
I mean, we're pretty damn powerful, do we? Isn't there some sort of resurrection spell that can be done even with just a little bit of the body?
If that thing is super vindictive, is there any way to appease it at all?
The current method is dying.
Yes, let it kill Cyrus. That's how it will be appeased.
Be super vindictive. Is there even going to be a... Sorry.
Well, that's the point. We leave
we cut his finger off.
behind.
Cut his finger off to send the body to go die, and then we resurrect him from the finger. It can be done with reincarnate. But I think it can be done with another super powerful resurrection spell. Is that a spell we have? Is it a spell that's... is it 9th level?
I think It's a wish-capable spell. I just don't know if it's a spell that Cyrus knows. Like, knows
Well, I mean,
about.
if it's one,
not
if
like
it's
cast.
if it's one you can cast with wish, then we got no problem.
So if we have
Yeah.
your body, then Wish can resurrect it.
Wait, didn't
Um,
we already explore the thought of like wishing that he just forget about Cyrus?
Well, no, this is
Yeah, we
not
don't
to use
know,
wish
but-
as a wish. It's used to copy a different spell.
Yeah,
which is,
we could if we have his body, we can use Wish to copy Resurrection, which is a 7th level spell.
well, the idea is to not
Um,
have the full
Yeah, the
body.
idea
but
is to have
part
like
of
a
it.
part of his body, like a finger or something.
Which I think is not enough for Resurrection.
Isn't there like true
I
resurrection?
think there's
though?
True
It's
Resurrection, which is a 9th level spell,
Oh, it's
which
9th level.
Laramendis could not duplicate. I think that Jebel could cast it if Jebel wanted to spend a lot more money.
And it's 25,000 gold pieces.
That is a lot of money.
Is he
much,
worth it?
How much?
Is he worth it?
Well, I have so much residuum I can fork over. I'll pay that to keep my body.
Be careful about that, 'cause this would be the second character we threw under the bus for Derek.
What?
He said the thing.
I think if I'm interpreting that correctly, you just mean
Screw him
we
over.
wanna, yeah, you screwed over one of Derek's characters who's doing a Rowan again.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what I'm saying.
The funny thing is, the first one wanted to be reincarnated. The second one, not so much.
Maybe it'll be a drow.
It-
It's not so bad.
the irony would almost certainly kill me.
That would be
From
really
now-
funny. I want to do it almost for that.
Sure
From now
enough.
on, this kind of thing will always now be called a rope.
I hate all of you.
we doing the Rowan maneuver, guys? Escape plan Rowan?
Oh man.
Wait, what was that last thing I missed?
Escape plan Rowan.
Well, no, I was thinking what would really be a kick in the nuts is if he got reincarnated as a drow. Or wait, what was he again? He was a
He's
yeah.
he's a halfling, right?
No,
But yeah, I
what
jumped.
was Rowan
Yes,
originally?
that was the
Rowan
that was the
was a
joke.
drow.
Really, was that it'd be funny if he became a drow.
That would be unfortunate and a kick in the nuts.
Yes, I would find it hilarious, and I almost want to do it just to see if that will happen.
The party's full of bad people.
Okay, so follow-up question. Mr. DM, does Cyrus happen to be aware of a spell called Clone?
What school is that? Is that transmutation or conjuration?
Necromancy.
It's necromancy.
Because you're making a second body for your soul to go into at a later point.
Isn't it
yes,
like a year?
everyone in the party is aware of clone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't Laramendis say he was making a clone of all of us?
He said he's making a clone of himself, and then he offered.
I-
to clone
I
the
know
rest
that
of you.
Laramendis' personal clone has come up. I can never actually remember if we had the conversation.
I
if we
believe that in character you have said this is something I can do for all of you, but later.
Okay.
Not now.
Yeah. So then, yeah, everyone should be aware of it.
Vendor would have been excited about that.
Cool.
Too bad they can't be. It couldn't have been a human clone. No, it'll have to be a dragonborn clone.
And I know that you
All
didn't
right.
tell them that until your hand was forced when, the clone came up.
I have no recollection of this. This might have happened while I was gone.
Possibly.
Yeah, it might have.
Okay, then I'm willing to go ahead with the reincarnate plan, but I want him to clone first so that I have an undo button later.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Clone takes 150 days or something stupid to grow. And if
Yeah,
you die
yeah, it's
before
a long
that, it
time.
doesn't work.
Well, it says it remains inert, so I was under the impression that I just couldn't use the clone. So the thought was die, get reincarnated, then once that 120 days has elapsed, could die again and then go into the clone.
That sounds like a corner case that I don't feel like pulling apart right now, but I'll think about it between sessions to see if what you're saying is correct.
Okay. Then I'll drop the issue for the moment.
So, I mean, all this talk, but there's still one thing that no one's discussed. How are you going to meet with the Aboleth?
Plan to just throw Cyrus into the plane of water.
More or less.
Just plane shift him there and let him doggy paddle around until it finds him.
Yeah, I think that was the plan.
Here, fishy, just dropping chum around him.
The plane of water is large.
What?
Yeah, but when I had the house box up into it for about 5 seconds, it found me. So, unless that was just a very odd stroke of luck.
Yeah, that was the assumption that if Cyrus were to enter the plane of water, then the Aboleth would know. But we don't actually know that that's true, I suppose.
Here, fishy.
And actually, so the real problem is just that because sound travels so far in water, it's just muttering about Cyrus from somewhere, and it's just constantly doing that, so it just managed to get through the tap. Everyone else is like, what the fuck is this Cyrus? Why is this still happening?
Just beating their heads against the bottom of the ocean, like, make it stop! Make it stop! So hard to conceptualize some of the planes.
We can probably use some sort of magic to try to divine its location before we throw you to it.
I like that plan, as a DM.
Because you probably only need to be near it, right? You know, not like you have to be right in front of it. It just needs to be able to find you.
Suppose not.
And we'll know when you die because you're beyond the bond.
That doesn't... I mean... I acknowledge this is a solution to my problem, I just don't like the solution.
Well, you shouldn't have had it become a problem in the first place, though. Don't piss off Avalists.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
Next time, I'm gonna let you. Alright. Well, then... I guess until we can go through some more of those finer points, and that's all I have on the fish matter for now, because don't have enough information at this exact second.
Well, I mean, again, the thing I'm doing next is skipping to the next day, so is this information you need right away? Is there a spell you need to cast?
That's part of the information that I don't know what all we need to do to find it.
Ask or something?
So, yeah, if we do a commute or something, and either find it, or at least have it immediate nature be, knowing that's like further out in the future, is supposed to be a more immediate problem. I suppose either of those is fine, but I don't have the ability to do any of the above.
If we are going to try to divine its location, then we'll need to ask Laramedis for help.
Alright, so we only got like 10 minutes left, so let's see if we can push this discussion at least to the next action item. Are you going to do a commune to try to locate this aboleth such that, you know, find out if it's possible to dump him in the plane next to it?
How does plane shift work?
Plane shift, you just specify another plane or a location on another plane, and it dumps you as close as the DM feels like is reasonable to it.
It can
And
also
that load-
use circles.
It can use... Oh, okay, good. Also,
Yeah.
you need a tuning fork attuned to that plane.
Yes, that is the biggest problem.
So you
Unless you
Yeah.
cast Wish.
because that eschews the material components.
Can we use Wish for me to get like all tuning forks for the planes we need?
Yes.
Just Wish for the tuning forks?
Yes.
We could, but
Yes,
that one
yes,
comes with backlash.
Yes, yes.
Yes. We haven't done anything like that yet because we're afraid of what
But
the
it's
backlash will be.
beautiful, because think of what you're asking for. It's practically valueless.
Yeah, you might think so.
But
That doesn't mean the
I think
universe
it's infinitely
agrees.
valuable.
Yeah, the universe
Well,
could
be
think that
careful
it's
not to
incredibly
convince the
valuable
DM
to
of
have all
that.
the tuning forks.
I mean, there are like you can make the case that there are infinitely many planes. So
Yes, but if you
We asked
imagine...
for a single tuning fork that was attuned to every plane simultaneously.
I mean, make a list of just the few that you need for now. But if you think about it, the backlash on the Wish is going to be proportional to the amount of effort that would be needed to do it without Wish. So, like, if you're saying, I wish for 10 million trillion gold, there would be an extreme amount of effort needed on one person's part to amass that kind of wealth, so the backlash is going to be large. But if you're saying, I need, you know, tuning forks for these 3 planes, to do it without wishes, I need to talk to someone who can provide me that, which is a small amount of effort, but perhaps a large time commitment. So it's going to be somewhere in there of the backlash on. It's going to be relatively small, because you're really talking about, like, you know, 50 gold worth of material and the effort of finding and communicating with a person who could do it.
And so, yeah, if you limited it to a specific set of planes and a relatively small set, that's a much more reasonable wish than all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Well, if there's anything-
that's why I specified like all we need, not all that exists.
Because he's right, there are an
Yeah, if
infinite
there's
number of
a-
planes to include demi-planes.
If there's any wish that's worth risking it for, that's one that's much more so than any of the other things we've suggested to wish for.
I disagree, because there's always a chance you can never cast Wish again. So, no.
Yeah, and Laramentis does
Especially
not have
since-
Wish
I
today,
forgot about
and
that.
Laramentis Simulacrum does not have its 9th level spell.
And especially since...
Didn't you make a new Simular Amendus that does? Or did you make a new Simular?
It didn't
No,
have the
we
Wish.
made the new one so that it would.
Oh, okay. So you
that
made the new one and
it
it
could
immediately
send.
spent Wish. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it didn't spend Wish, it sent.
Sent. It sent.
Yeah, I used the 9th level sending.
Okay.
But furthermore, at least for the immediate use case, we don't even want the tuning fork, because don't you have to come with the person you're plane shifting?
Yeah.
I don't think you want to be there.
Oh no. She's safe. Not the one that wants to kill.
I only thought about that because, you know, we when we teleported to Storm Reef, I was wondering if you could teleport to a creature.
That's tough. So, like, you could specify that, but unless you know exactly where on the plane it is, it's really just up to me to say where you end up. Because even in the description of the spell Plane Shift, if you say, I want to teleport from whatever plane I'm on to, in their example, it says, you know, the city of Brass in the plane of fire, the thing says, it's up to the DM where you land. You could end up, you know, right outside the gates of the City of Brass. You could end up on the main thoroughfare right in the middle of the street of the City of Brass. Or you could end up on the other side of, like, a mile-wide magma river in sight of the city of Brass. It's very, like, very up to, like, rule of funny.
Yeah. And plus, going to a person's more the domain of gate than whatever the one I was talking about, which I've now brain farted on.
And if you just say the name of the plane, I appear on a plane, and you get a grid that's, you know, 1 million units in every direction. And pick, you flip a coin, throw a dart, you end up there.
Yeah, I don't know how the plane of water works. Are there landmarks in the plane of water?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, there's no landmarks.
Well, so here's the thing.
Ocean marks?
This is why I was saying it's a little hard to conceptualize some of the planes sometimes, because all of the planes have border regions where they border, especially, like, the material plane, and that tends to be, like, a middling ground. That's why the plane of fire isn't just an inferno. It's like a volcanic region where everything is fiery underneath, the whole place is hot, but there are places where things can exist. The city of Brass, for example, exists in the plane of fire because there is a part of it where there's enough stone contiguously that's not a volcano for humanoids and genasi to live. The same thing exists in the planes of air and water, where the plane of air has, like, flying cities, and the plane of water has icebergs and shorelines in that border region where there are these cities that kind of drift off into the ocean, but then the rest of it is largely just water.
Well, there are at least locations that we could see. You know, is it within this far of this location and shit?
The problem is knowing enough of those locations.
Yeah.
Having that particular knowledge of the planes, because I don't think...
You know somebody. Avandra Yeldon. Dean of Conjuration.
It's true. He probably has some pretty good ideas about...
He might not know everything, but he's probably the most knowledgeable on the other planes.
Well, hey, if you're gonna visit the university again, let me come. Always good to say hi to Vissandrius.
Have some
That's my
materials to
ideas
drop
off.
off a friend to you.
Yeah, it's like I got some ideas. Got some new materials. Let's see what we can come up with. Last time I saw him, we made nitroglycerin. And tea.
I know, that's why we're not allowing you to go back there. It's a hazard to everyone's health.
It's not like you can
especially
keep me away
yours.
from him. After this is done, he's gonna be my partner.
Yes, but that'll be after this is done.
Oh, that's who Jeff Bridges is going to be. Vissandrius. He's going to stab you in the back 10 years down the road.
But think of what we'll create in the meantime.
Oh, yeah. The arc reactor. Oh.
But yeah, so if we need to pinpoint a location in one of the elemental planes, then talking to Avandra is probably a good idea to find the types of places that we might use as reference points.
I love it when previous NPCs become relevant again.
Like, I haven't seen you for 80 years, and suddenly...
Visit
can't
you like
get rid of
4
you.
times in a month.
Alright.
the Laramendus and the Simulacrum, so that way he can say, I'm lousy with Laramenduses.
Just make your own simulacrum to, you know, just pull down.
He stops and looks at you and goes, Laramendi?
Didn't know you had a twin.
That would have to be your response. Or the simulacrum's response. He can't
Both
tell.
at the same time.
No, one of you says Laramandopodes, the other one says Laramandopodes.
Yes. That's better.
Oh, wonderful. Alright, so we have a direction to go in, at least. I don't get to do all my lovely time skips to force you into the dragon fight, of course. But we know where we're starting next time. So, thank you all for being here. Everyone's contributions were lovely and wonderful. They made me laugh a lot, so thank you for that. And I will see all of you the next time we meet, which will hopefully be next week, but I will say it's definitely up in the air since I'll have just moved. And Tuesday's my first day back at work after a week off and moving, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time on Everybody Loves Raiken. Bye, stream.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.